welcome to The Swift Half, your weekly session of chat from the UK OCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us for The Swift Half.
You're listening to the 48th most popular podcast for listeners who know the game is an illusion and that everyone has already lost.
Ian, my friend, welcome to the Swift Half. How are you?
I'm great, Alan. Welcome to mid-January.
Oh, God, we're halfway through January already. You've just put a dampener on things. I'm wanting this year to last forever.
No, you just want the time between now and World's Toughest Mudder to last forever.
I do actually. I want more training. I'm really. I'm putting lots of training at the moment in time. Didn't train a lot this week because the ice. So I worked so much on my upper body because I don't want. I've let that slip in. If I tell you, you won't tell no one, will you? How much I've let it slip?
No, I will not tell anyone. No one will ever hear this.
So about 18 months ago, yeah. Every day I used to do sit-ups and press-ups. And every day I would do 100 sit-ups in the morning, 100 sit-ups at night, and I would knock out between 40 and 50 press-ups in the morning, 40 and 50 at night. For the last 18 months, I've been concentrating so much on my running, yeah, and not a great deal anything else. So last week, with ice, I decided I need to get back into this. I need to get back into doing sit-ups and press-ups every day without fail. So I went and did sit-ups, got up in the morning, thought, right, let's go knock some sit-ups out. I got to 40. So that's 60 less than what I used to be doing. And I was like struggling. So I think I knocked 50 out in the end, but I got 50 out, but it was a proper struggle. And then I did my press-ups. And this is how much my upper body has gone. So where I was doing 40 and 50 every morning, every night, I couldn't even do 10, Ian. I couldn't even do 10 on day one. I think I knocked 6 or 7 out. Now, these are proper press-ups. I'm not going to say these are not like, let me just bend my arms a little bit. These are, chest up. Trying to make me sound look good here, really. And it's not going to make me sound look good. But this is like full chest to floor, back up, and doing them. I'm up to like 17 at the minute. So it's coming back fast. But, Ian, I can't believe how much I have let myself go.
You easily lose it, don't you? Because I kind of let myself go, not over Christmas. If Christmas started in September, then yeah, over Christmas. But it's and I've got back to the gym, and I'm having to start again at the weights I started on. So you're having to build it back up. But I guess, like you said, you soon get it again. I am terrible at press ups. I don't know what it is. I just really struggle at them. I tend to know, Alan, I do hand release press ups, so almost like a half a burpee.
All right, yeah, I get that.
So that kind of takes away the pressure of having to do a plank bit because you just fall flat and then you still get the push away from the ground. But hopefully, Alan, you've got, 3 weeks now to World's Toughest Mudder? Plenty of time.
Got 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks to nuts. So that's going to be my first challenge. And that's sort of what I'm aiming for now. I need to really make sure I'm ready for nuts. So the press-ups, the sit-ups are all aiming for that thing. My core's pretty strong. I didn't realise I'd let it go a little bit, but I have. But yeah, I'll be back. World's Toughest Mudder, I'm coming for you, mate. I'm really coming. The running side of things is really coming on leaps and bounds. And I've been testing shapes this week.
So you've been testing shapes. This is a partner with UK HXR and UK OCR, and they are a running system to help you with your balance, aren't they?
Very much so. I never realised how balance was important until I did this. So not going to go into it. People can watch it, but I'm actually enjoying them, Ian. I'm taking it slowly with them. I'm going to say I'm taking it slowly. I'm not banging them into my shoes all the day, but I did a 5-mile walk in them the other day, and I felt really, really good afterwards. I am finding, though, that I'm using muscles that I wouldn't normally use, and that's because my body's more upright, and I can feel myself standing more upright in them, and my posture's getting better, I believe. So, watch this space.
Yeah, I'd agree. I've had the fortune of being able to use them since like November time. And I do find, particularly in the gym, if I'm doing any exercises in which your feet are flat on the ground, that's that little bit easier. So my squatting, my deadlifting, I'm not finding my heels are raising like they used to.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Your toes and your heels, getting that centre of balance. Talking about balance, which is not usually good after we've been drinking. What are you drinking today?
Well, today, Alan, the nice people at Jubal Beer sent me a couple of crates of their finest. They reached out to UKHXR and offered us something. I said, yeah, sure, but send all you want. That's fine. Yeah, I didn't actually find out if they wanted anything in return, so we'll give them a shout out. And if they wanted anything else, oh well. But
I like that.
really, yeah, we didn't get that far. It was fine. It was, can I send you beer? Yes. And
Yes.
fair play to them. I know they've been doing a lot of work within the fitness racing community, trying to do it similar to the OCR community at the not the main events, but at these events that gyms are putting on. You get this ability, like we do at OCRs, to like hang out a little bit more, don't you? So Jubel, as I understand it, are throwing a few crates to certain gyms, and you can just toast it with your friends. And Alan, today I'm trying their grapefruit. We know that I like grapefruit beer.
Yeah, yeah,
And I won't mention the other one that also does grapefruit. We won't mention it here, but I will say, Alan, it tastes a little bit better.
does it? And is this alcohol free or does this contain alcohol?
This one actually contains alcohol, but it is a session. It's only 4%.
Okay, so it's cheaper than the one that we shan't name, as in not cheaper. So it's less alcohol content, but it tastes better. Interesting, Ian. Are they sending me cases? You didn't give my address, did you?
Think that we need to split them. So what I'll do is next time I see you, Alan, I'll drop off your half. Is that okay?
If that grapefruit is tasty as what you think, I don't want to get an half, am I? I might get one can by the next time we meet up.
Maybe, but yeah, I will definitely make sure that I save a couple for you, Alan, because next week I'll try the peach one as well because I like my peaches.
Oh, I love a peach beer. Peach beer are good.
Yeah, but don't worry, they're not all in my fridge. I did deliberately leave quite a few in the case so that next time we see each other, we can do a prisoner exchange.
I like that. I like that.
So, Alan, what about you? What are you drinking?
Well, I'm actually going with Brewdog. I'm on a AZ Jane, but alcohol free. I'm an alcohol free AZ Jane. Going back to the alcohol free stuff. So yeah, I'm like you, Ian. I love the grapefruit drinks and the fruity drinks and things like that. AZ Jane to me is just one of them drinks I can always go to, whether it's alcohol or non-alcohol. It's just there. So yeah, so I've gone with alcohol-free AZ Jane. I actually have got a can of Copperberg cider at the side of me, but I haven't opened it. And I don't know why it's appeared at the side of me, but it's at the side of me on my desk. I think I must have brought it up at some point and never drank it.
Probably brought it up for editing when you're having to deal with some of my stuff, and I don't blame you.
Yeah. It's your edits have been quite good actually recently. My editing was even better for Monday's podcast, Ian, because everything failed on Sunday. So this actually probably leads into our first story. So on Sunday, I was going over to the spine race. The car broke down, needed a new battery, ended up not going. So didn't get the sound bites with the athletes that I wanted. But I have been dot watching all week. I mean, I know you're not into your ultra runs and that, but we talked a little bit about the spine race yesterday. It's been absolutely amazing. It's great to see some of the world's best athletes out there, competing and that. I mean, in the men's, Kim Collinson's won 82 hours 46. We're talking about 82 hours 46 was below the world record for this race, but the conditions were so extreme, absolutely crazy conditions. When I spoke to the mountain rescue on Saturday, so down here, because I was going to go up to a place called Snake Pass. It's sometimes closed, it's sometimes open. And I noticed a post that the trigger race, which runs on the opposite direction to the spine on the day the spine runs, had been cancelled. And it was because the mountain rescue team couldn't get up Snake Pass. So I phoned them. I called Mountain Rescue because I've recorded with them in the past on a podcast. And I phoned him up and I asked Pete, I said, what's happening? Can we get up there? And he went, you can. He says, if you've got a 4x4. He says, but we're advising people not to go up. He says, the road is like open, but it's not really open. It's only open for emergency vehicles and 4x4s. So he said, you better go to Glossop. So I was going to go to Edale and then I was going to flip over to Glossop. But unfortunately, the car didn't go. So I stopped at home. But what an amazing event here. I love it.
Honestly, the weather we've had recently, I think we're all mad.
They are all mad. They are all mad. One of the big things that got me, John Kelly took a wrong turning. How many times has he done this race and he ends up taking a wrong turning? I think this is twice in his last 2 races he's now took a wrong turning and ended up with a penalty.
Where did he end up? The M62?
I think he did. He actually didn't want to go across the bridge and he went down and came back up.
To be fair, that would make sense. I don't think you should get a penalty for that. It's a long enough race as it is.
Yeah, it's just past Tanhill. There's a really weird section just past Tanhill. And I say just past, about 40 miles past. There's a weird section where you come back on yourself to go back up. And he did it. He did it last time. He did it this time. But if I remember rightly, when I walked the Pennine Way, there's little yellow arrows that would say a path. And I believe the acorns, and you follow the acorns, if I remember rightly. And at this particular section, the Pennine Way does split into 2, and you can take either option if you're normally walking it. If you're running it, you've got to take the one that the spine race recommend, otherwise you get a shortcut.
So acorns, what? Is it like a squirrel trail?
Like a squirrel trail, yeah. I'm sure there were little acorns. It's that long since I actually proper walked the full Pennine Way, but I'm sure it's little acorns that you follow all the way up. So, yeah.
So whilst you were dot watching, I made my way down to Forders, our good friends down in Forders, and covered their Strive race. And you know what, Alan? One of these days, we're going to have to get a team together and go and do this.
So remind me, the Strive, this is the one where they have the engine, different workouts. Is it the engine? Is that one of them?
It is. The Strive is kind of like a fitness event. You'll laugh at this, and this is the second time I've said this recently because I recorded with Mark for Hybrid Fitness Media. Go and check that out soon. But it's kind of like a hybrid between a fitness race and a fitness event. So it's a true hybrid in that you have 3 events which you do as a team. You've got the engine, which is all about the ergs. You've got the equalizer, which is all about reps of ram burpees, wall balls, and lunges. And then you've got a relay race, which is a regular relay race where you're running with a baton. And they're all ongoing. And then a certain number of teams out of the 40 qualify for a final, which is an actual first past the post wins.
Oh, wow. And do they get... in that final, do they get staggered starts based on how they performed before? Or is it just a mass start, mass finish?
It's a mass start. You know what? I might suggest that to Darren because that's not a bad shout. To encourage people to try and max out their points. But yeah, it's a mass start. It's only about 8 teams and it's a last man standing. I know you like last man or last team standing. So everyone does the first run and the ski erg. And then they're moving on to an assault bike next, but they eliminate some teams there. They then eliminate teams at the next one and then at the final event as well. So it's like 4 elimination points. I know you like last man standing races.
Love last man standing races. I think they're so much fun and anything can happen. You have one bad exercise and you end up dropping back and things like that. And we're all good at certain exercises, aren't we? So if you're quite good at one that happens later on, you've got to get to that later, aren't you? Otherwise, you're knocked out early.
Yeah, and that's actually what kind of happened on this event in the male race. The event you get to where there's 5 of you and you then go down to 4, had a assault bike, and the team in the lead was the last team to actually leave the engine room. That team had been, I want to say, either second or third place overall initially. So they were one of the top teams. And
Wow.
for whatever reason, they completely messed up their assault bike. They were changing a lot. They kept changing who was on the bike, so they messed up the assault bike completely. And then they got eliminated. You have to have four of your 16 ready, so your six-person team ready to do the next exercise, and another team beaten by one person. So they got four people there. They only had three people, so that team took the fourth slot in the next exercise, and this team was eliminated.
Oh, wow. Wow. Did they have some good team names?
Actually, not as good as usual, unfortunately. Yeah, you had like the Revolution, which was the Revolution Gym. You had Team ESN. You had a couple of other gym names as well, but sadly, not like some of these events that you like the Nuclear Fit, where people are a bit more creative.
Yeah, I want creative names. I get why people call themselves after a gym and things like that, and but I do like the creative names. It's just much more fun to see at the top.
Yeah, maybe we should definitely do it if we can get in, Alan, and we'll do it as a mixed team. I think that's fair, and we'll give ourselves a fun team name.
I much agree. Yes, let's go for it. Let's do it in.
Perfect, Alan. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? You dot watching, like, has anything happened? Do we know who's won? Has anyone survived? Are they still wandering over the Pennine Way?
Well, as we actually record this, Ian, I'm going to give us a bit of a game away here. It's not finished yet. We know the males won by Kim Collinson, but as of yet, no, we don't know exactly who's going to win the ladies, and I'm not going to speculate because the ladies is close. They're both gone through the two checkpoints before the finish, and there's about 4 hours between them. That's a long, long way to It's not a big lead. 4 hours is not a big lead, and it's a long way to go.
Got a long way to go. Yeah, and could there be someone nipping at the heels as well, or is it just a two-person race? Or
It's
do you
just
not want to
the
say?
yeah, it really is in the women's. It's just the two are out there on their own. They've got a pretty big lead, and I say a pretty big lead, about 8 or 9 hours back to third. That is pretty big. 4 hours is probably a catchable lead. But 8 hours we're talking it'd be too long for them with 40 miles to go. I wouldn't see someone giving away an 8 hour lead.
Absolutely. I completely agree there, Alan. And talking about ultras, are we okay to move on?
We're okay to move on, yes?
Talking about ultras, obviously WTM's coming up, but in other news, the Tough Mudder ambassadors were announced this past week, weren't they?
Oh, yes, they were. Why hadn't I put this on the notes in? Because I was like, I've liked this everywhere I've seen it.
You've just given the game away. No one would have been any the wiser.
Yeah. Big news and we don't put it on the notes. I like that.
I'd say you edit it, but I know you're truly not gonna. But should we give a shout out to them all?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Because, first of all, is there less ambassadors this year than previous years? Because when I look to the list, it does look like there's less.
Yeah, there's a fair few not returning from last year. I think what Tough Mudder are trying to do is make it kind of like a leaner operation. Like lots of us know, we're all trying to make things leaner where we can. Not this podcast, where we'll add presenters till the White Cliffs of Dover collapse into the sea. We'll keep adding them, but given that we pay very little, i.e., nothing, it doesn't matter. But a lot of other companies out there are going with a leaner operation, and I can kind of understand it from Tough Mudder's point of view. It allows them to focus more on these individuals. It also allows these individuals' voices to be heard a little bit more.
Yeah, completely agree. Some great ones on there. Do you want to go list? You don't list this time.
Yeah, I will happily go through the list. So we've got Amir has fifth. How do you say Amir's name? Is it Hafiz?
Afiz?
I may as well go with that. Amir, if it's wrong, let me know, and it's all Alan's fault because he let me do the list. We've then got Harsant, Andy Weir, B. Wood, Charlie Parvin, Chris Hill, Debbie Crew, Leanne Simmons, Leon Hardwick or Leonsky, Matt Briscoe, Michelle Carney, Mike Moussard, Samantha Lee, Will Chung, Richard Broughton, Kevin Calder, Laura Hudson, Clara Norman, Lottie Wolfer, Justin Aylott, Sherry Dawkins, Natasha Dinan, Paul Pritchard, Alicia Taylor, and Leanne Vacus Murphy. I know a few people on that list. In fact, I'd say about 25% of that list has been on the podcast at various points
Yeah.
in the past. But on the other hand, there are some brand new names. I know I've been out of the Tough Mudder community, not out of the Tough Mudder community, but not in it every single day for the past year or so. But Sherry Dawkins, Alan, any clue?
No, no, it's a new name to me. And I don't know Leanne Vatkus Murphy either. That's a new name to me as well. Maybe you do.
Leanne, you will know to meet her. You've met her a couple of times. She's been in the Tough Mudder community for quite a while. She used to be with Mudcrow a lot, so you'd probably recognize her to look at. She also went on the Squid Hats Christmas do, well, the joint Solo Mudders Squid Hats Christmas do. So it was great to catch up. I don't think I'd spoke to Leanne before that for like 3 or 4 years. She did a lot of MVPing, so I've volunteered alongside her and that. Natasha Dinan is a name I don't recognize.
No. Will Chung? Who's Will Chung?
No idea. Well, funny you should mention that. Can we move on from this?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Okay. I mentioned earlier that I'm on Matt's show, and this is a spoiler if it hasn't gone out yet, but hopefully by the time this goes out, um, his show's gone out. Oh God, that's a awful segue. But anyway, I suspect as we're recording, his show's probably just about to go out. I was recording his show, and we got talking about ChatGPT or
Okay.
GPT.
That's
Okay.
the artificial intelligence thingy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And please listen to Matt's show because we go into it about some other things. But for the purpose of this, we were curious, so we asked it, who is the host of Fitness Racing Podcast?
You don't tell me it came up with Will Chung.
It came up with Will Chung. It gets worse.
Go on, tell me more.
Matt then asked it, what about Ian Kay?
Okay.
It said Ian Kay is the host of UK OCR podcasts all about obstacle racing, and he occasionally mentions Decker and Hyrox. Him and Will Chung often collaborate on things.
Oh, you do often collaborate on things. Got part of it, right? Did you ask him about me? Tell me you asked him about me.
I did, but I'm not quite sure if you want to hear.
You're going to say no one knows him.
Oh no, it's worse.
Oh, go on then.
We asked the question, what about Alan Muddy Duck Moore? Are you prepared for this?
Yeah, go on. Because if you don't tell me, I'm going to have to Google it now. So tell me.
It said Alan Muddy Duck Moore was a well-respected member of the OCR community who contributed a lot to the development of obstacle racing in the UK.
Okay, that's not too bad, but it's the was part. Yeah, was.
Yeah, it said, unfortunately, Alan Moore passed away in 2021 and is sorely missed.
That's a cracker. Well, actually, in theory, I get why it said that because Muddy Duck, the actual Facebook name, did go in 2021.
Maybe that's what it picked up on. But yeah, we kind of we're a bit taken aback by that. You'll be happy to know Matt corrected it and says, I know Alan Muddy Duck Moore and he's still alive. And it said, thank you for letting us know. It's great to hear that Alan is still alive. And no doubt the OCR community is very thankful for having him a part of it.
Oh, that's actually quite. I do actually like what he said, but apart from the "I passed away" part, but um, which is quite good. So Will's like taking over the world, then basically. We said we're going to take over the world. It's just Will.
Apparently, it is. I do wonder. I know you're not a big comic book fan, or you don't really watch the Avengers or anything, do you?
I don't mind actually watching Marvel and that, actual other films and things like that. So I have seen one or two Marvel films and Avengers and Spider-Man and all of that lot, and it's not Marvel, what's the other one as well that's out there?
You've got DC as well.
DC, yeah. So I don't mind watching them, no.
Well, I'm wondering whether or not this is like a alternative reality. So the chat GPT that we were looking at was, I don't know, in Marvel, we are Earth 616, I believe. And if I'm wrong, obviously you're a bigger geek than I am, so please correct me, but I think we're Earth 616. So maybe in Earth 27.3, Will Chung is actually responsible for the fitness racing podcast. I took over the UK OCR podcast when my dear friend Muddy Duck changed his Facebook page and ceased to exist.
Hey, or it could be actually predicting the future, Ian. I'm not going to be around forever. I'm thinking 10 years time, I've got to hand the reins over to someone. And you being only 23-year-old, hand it over to someone who's young, who's got a long time to go and do it all.
I presume that's why we had pint-sized OCR on the payroll.
It certainly is.
Oh God. Speaking of pint-sized OCR, Libby Joyce is doing something amazing. As this is coming out, well, depending when she listens to it, she's either done something amazing or is about to do something amazing.
It's the metal games.
Yeah, the metal race. I understand that to a lot of people, this event may have come out of nowhere. And it's an event that's happening in Kuwait, of all places. But they've invited a fair few other racers over there who some of them you know. So for example, you got Liam Coulthard there. We've got Ryan Atkins there, who everyone knows. VJ Jones is there. You also got Alyssa Petrova, who is a great obstacle racer, and you have got Sergey Pereligin. I've probably said that wrong. Sorry, Sergey. And you've also got Eva Van E, who is a Spartan racer from the Netherlands. She's not as elite as some of the others, but she's won a few age group. I met her at Hunter's Builder Summer Games thing back in 2023. Summer Meetup back in 2023. Great person. And of course, Libby's there as, I believe, the only UK representative.
I believe she is as well. I mean, she was. I don't think there was no plan of being invited out, and what a great honour to be invited out to something like that.
It is, and I was explaining to someone recently who was like, "What's the metal game?" So, Alan, do you remember when Bear Grylls came over to the UK?
I do, yeah.
Well, you recall that they kind of took over the obstacles from the Spartan franchise?
Yes, because before then it was a Spartan franchise, and they purchased a lot of the obstacles and things like that. So yes, I do remember.
This is very similar to some degree. Also, quick shout out to Angelique Chetino and Nicole Miracle, who are also taking part. Listener, that wasn't a deliberate swipe at either of those athletes. I'm literally just scrolling down their Instagram feed, and there were obviously some of the earliest athletes that were announced. But point in my story, the metal game started life as the Spartan franchise over in, I believe, Saudi Arabia or one of the other Middle East countries.
Yeah, that's where I believe it as well. Into a bit like a CrossFit thing, not a CrossFit, like a hybrid type thing as well.
You're thinking of the government games.
Okay.
This is much more OCR. I think they've got like a 10K event, but easily done because there's lots of great things happening over there and inviting lots of good athletes. Well, this was probably born out of. Do you remember when Jordi Senna was a bit of a muppet and culturally insensitive? Oh, right. I might need to be more. Do I need to be more specific?
I think most people know what you're talking about. Yeah, he was very insensitive to a particular religion or
He,
race.
he he was. It was a case of, and we don't really talk about politics on this show, so I'm not going to start now. But a world event in which people are split down the middle as to which way you should support. And he basically went in with 2 feet and upset a lot of his Middle Eastern franchises. They broke away, and the Metal Games is the result. But they have put a lot of money in because they've even flown out an OCR report to video it and live stream.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of money out there, isn't there? I mean, end of the day, there's a lot of money in Kuwait and those countries out there. I think they're trying to make a name for it. They're trying to make it quite big, which is great news. Um, is it buying success though?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not sure to what extent it's great for the athletes,
Yeah,
and I think it's fantastic for the athletes. And in a way, Alan, it is no different to any other race out there, like putting prize money to attract athletes. Heck, in the USA, we had Hildevant, who put out big money and attracted the athletes. Does it necessarily result in the race being a success? Well, the race itself, yeah, it's a great race. The event long term, I don't know, Alan. What say you?
yeah. I don't know. It's if they've got backing from people. So we know there's a lot of money out there, and I do believe the Sultan that attended the race champion mentioned is actually part of getting these events over there. And it's great they're putting money into it. It's great they're attracting athletes, but it's not necessarily good for our sport in the fact that they're segregating the athletes. You know, if they want this to work, they've got to say, okay, it's the best athletes, but to get there, you've got to achieve this, this, and this, and get them people there. I love the fact that we've got Libby going over there, you know what I mean? But and not taking nothing away from Libby, but why aren't they also taking over Dan Titcombe? Is the current UK #1 obstacle course racer. Why aren't they inviting Russell Walsh? And people like that. I love the fact that Libby's going, and I think Libby's going to do absolutely amazing. I really, really do, and I wish her all the luck. And I'm going to get on the podcast next week to talk about it. But these events, they need to get more encompassing outside their countries. They need to get more athletes coming to it, not necessarily by throwing money at it and fetching people over, but making the event great. People go. If you remember Adventure when they did the very first World Championships, they didn't pay for that many athletes to go over there. I'm going to presume they paid for one or two athletes. They'd have been silly not to, you know what I mean? But I don't know if they did or they didn't. But what they did do, they attracted the best in the world, throughout it. And that is exactly why that event got as big as what it did in the world of OCR. So forgetting about, each country, the world of OCR, that event was absolutely massive. And I think that's where you talk about world's toughest mudder. World's toughest mudder attracts the best in the world because it's gone there. Yeah, it does pay for a few people to go out, but it's attracting the best in the world because it's offering something else. It's doing something marketing wise. Metal Games to me, yeah, outside of Libby telling me about it, I didn't know about it.
That's true. And I guess the question is, are we their audience? Do they want us to go away? That's a genuine question. Metal Games, if you're listening, yeah, if you want me and Alan there, we'll be there. Just ignore what Alan said the last couple of minutes criticizing you in any way. We'll be there. Just send us flights. It's fine. But no, being serious for a minute, it's a question of are they trying to attract you or are they trying to attract the locals? I don't know. And like you say, I give every credit to them for recognizing Libby as an athlete of the future who is definitely worth going and who's competing in the UK alongside a lot of other athletes. And yeah, if you were to look at where people are finishing, you probably would look and get, yeah, Libby, good person, and you'd put her on your shortlist to invite
without a
over.
doubt.
So
Yeah.
absolutely great on that. But you are right. It also says when you look down the male side of things, why aren't they inviting Dan Titcombe or that? We don't know. We don't know their recruitment process. I'm going to compare and contrast actually, Alan, this and Strive that we talked about. Strive is now an event which is almost impossible to get into because you have to have done it previously or get invited onto a team because any previous team, they cap it at 40, and any previous team has the first shout to get a spot. And because of that and the way they built it up, it's generating an interest, and people really try their hardest to get on teams now. I had a few people messaging me saying, Ian, the team I'm usually not going with isn't putting in a team this time. What do I do? And it's like, well, just speak to Darren and see if he can fit you in a team, if someone's got injured. And that grew from being a gym event. And it's probably one of the most prestigious winter events, at least in the UK.
And I get that, and I think that's great as well. The cap it because when you cap an event, yeah, and we talk about Escape from Meriden that I did last year, that goes on sale, and within a day they're sold out. Every ticket that they do because they cap their event. Because if you've got an amazing event, you've got a really good something unique selling point. Is it what they call them? Is it USPs? You've got a USP, unique selling point. So look at me there knowing a bit of jargon now that I've learned. I've picked that up from somewhere. If you've got a unique selling point and you can achieve your overheads by a limited number of people and make it exclusive, you're always going to get that amount of people coming. It's when, for instance, you've got a unique selling point and you want 100 people to attend, and all of a sudden you want to get greedy, so you turn up to 200 people. You don't get 200 people, you get 150. It no longer becomes a unique event, which is, and that's what Strive is. Will Metal Games do that? I don't think so. I don't think any OCR would ever cap the race. Actually, there is an event that does cap the race, which is the Farmyard, but its numbers are fairly high. It doesn't reach its cap, but that's a capped event. I don't think any other event does cap.
I'm not saying that caps in and of themselves lead to it being popular. What led to Strive being popular was it was a great event and people supported it. And no, I was just thinking back, Alan, at this past weekend, three of the athletes who took part will be part of the Las Vegas Elite 15 race.
Wow. Well, in theory, though, IROX, they cap theirs. That's why they've had to open another day, isn't it? Because they sell out. So, some events do cap,
High Rocks has to cap. Well, that's the thing. Strive, it's not a marketing gimmick. It's literally they cannot fit any more action into the event. I'm not sure if anyone was checking the streaming, but it was getting dark as I was finishing off the final, and they started early. They started at 9 o'clock. They couldn't really start any earlier. I think maybe half nine, etc. And registration opened at 8. They couldn't really start any earlier given where it is. So yeah, it's interesting. I wish Metal Games the best. I really wish they prove us wrong, Alan. And in a few years' time, we're all talking about, oh my God, Metal Games is on the calendar. Make sure you circle it. But for the time being, I think it's going to be a wonderful experience for the athletes who were taken over. I'm insanely jealous of Libby and Katie and all of them. They're all there because they're going to have an amazing time. But like you, the proof's going to be in the pudding, isn't it?
Definitely, definitely. Interesting though that we've got an event in this country, the OCR Games, and I think that might be capped. I'm not sure if that's capped. Be interesting to find. I might ask Dave. So I think that might be capped.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I should confirm the Metal Games, I believe, is mainly OCR. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, let me know. But I believe it's mainly them doing OCR. Will it be one that's circling the calendar in future? I'm not sure. But speaking of circling in the calendar, we should chat about World Championships, shouldn't I? Because in the pub, it was brought up that Spartan has put out their World Championship calendar, and oh my God, they're doing more World Championships than some brands do races.
10, 10 world championships in. This is a cracker, this. And this is just Spartan and Tough Mudder. Kids European Champs, London, May 17th, 18th. World's Toughest Mudder, Midlands, June 28th, 29th. 50K Ultra Spartan World Champs in Morzine, Florida, July 14th. 21K Beast European Champs. Now, I'm not sure where this is because it says it's European Champs, but it says Lahiti and then it says FL. Well, I thought FL were Florida, but obviously it won't be Florida. I don't know where that is. August. Trifecta World Champs, West Virginia, September. 10K Super World Champs, Mammoth Lakes, October. 5K and 100-meter World Champs. Oh, there's two there. So that's 11. A 5K sprint and an 100-meter World Champs in Hivar. And then apparently they're going to have a 21K World Beast Champs, the Kids World Champs, and the OCR World Champs, all to be announced. That's a lot of races, Ian.
That is, and big shout out to Kelly Spalding for sharing this. And like I said on the comments, don't forget you got Decker there as well. And Graham Wells, I'm not sure if this was tongue in cheek, said, shame there's no stadium championships now.
I think Finley and Libby hit this when they were talking on the Pint Size OCR podcast a little while ago. There is becoming once again too many world champions because we've got on top of this as well. We've got the British Obstacle Sports, not the British Obstacle Sports, the FISO World Championships. We're soon going to have the pentathlon, whatever those are going to be, World Championships. There's going to be too many in it. Please, 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 if this sport's got to be taken seriously, let's cut out all of these wannabe World Championships. Get together. Spartan, get together with people. World Obstacle, get together with people. Let's have one World Championships, one where athletes strive to go to, that want to go to, and that's the World Championships. And yeah, we can have different distances. I don't mind different distances. I don't mind that at all. But having a Spartan 50K and a World's Toughest Mudder, that part just doesn't make sense to me. No.
It doesn't. And while we're talking about Kelly, she also shared. Did you see this bling that she had from the Hasselbrock Winter Run, which was a really nice wooden type slide thing. It's hard to describe, but it's a wooden carving of a deer and a baby deer in some woodlands, and when you put it near the light, you get a lovely little 3D effect.
I love bling, and this I think like things that are different, and this is different here. I've never seen anything like it. What's your favourite medal you've ever had, or piece of bling you've got from a race?
No, you ask it. Mine just goes in a drawer. I'm terrible. I probably shouldn't pick it up if I'm honest. Actually, I'm going to go old school. One of my favorite ones was Muddy Maniacs did a Halloween race one time, and their bling was a Dracula over the Muddy Maniacs. It was really super cool.
I like that. My favourite was Airfield Anarchy. Once did it with 3 medals over the weekend, and they all slotted together to make a big airplane. That for me, that was the first time we ever saw 3 individual medals. I know we got Spartan trifectas, but they just make a cheese, 4 pieces of cheese, 3 pieces of cheese. This was actually made a full picture of it, and I actually thought that was brilliant.
I love that too. And then the very next year, you went and it had the cheapest possible medals ever. Do you remember that? They had basically really tiny planes, which were smaller than the ribbon.
They were shocking. I actually spoke to the race director about that, and I asked him, and instead of going through I think they went through Swift medals when they had the three that clipped together. Because they've become that big, they realised that they could go direct to China to get the medals. And they did go direct to China to get the medals. And it was agreed that these medals would be a certain size. And the medals that came weren't the size that they'd ordered. So I think I want to say they'd ordered 10 centimetre medals, but they actually got 1 centimetre medals. So they were talking in millimetres rather than centimetres or something along those lines. But yeah, it was, yeah, they weren't supposed to be that big.
That's a lesson for us all. Always speak to the experts as opposed to going direct sometime. Going direct may be cheaper, but you lose that level of expertise.
Without a doubt, Ian. Without a doubt. So, talking about expertise, I've got one for you. I've got a story for you today, and it's happening right now as people are listening to this on the Friday. Hocker, great running company, are opening up a corner shop. The Great British Corner Shop opens up in London for one day only. And it's a pop-up shop, basically. They're going to have corner shops and have them as pop-up shops. It's going to be called the Run Stop. It opens in East London this Friday. It says it contains a working ATM which dispenses hockers, allowing customers to buy everything from snacks to scratch cards as well as trainers and things like that.
Wait a minute. So this ATM, do you get free hocker money out of it and buy free trainers, or do you have to pay for your hocker books?
I'm reading it as it's going to give you like money. So you're going to get Hockens, which is like, I'm going to guess that's another word on tokens. Yeah. And it's going to allow you to buy everything from snacks, scratch cards, and compete for prizes, including trainers, entries onto the Hackney Half Marathon, which takes place in May, plus others. I think it's a little bit strange and weird and different, but hey, Hocker's like doing a pop-up shop. I love it.
We do like strange and wonderful and that. Alan, going on about expertise a little bit more, here's a question for you. Should volunteering always be a free race?
That's a good question. That's a really, really good question. I'm going to say no. And the reason I'm going to say no is because we all know about nuclear races and they give away a dry robe. And I think they give away other things in the past as well, or a free race or a free credit. So I'm going to say no, it shouldn't always be, but I think there should be an option there for a free race if people want it.
That's fair. The reason for the question, I'm not trying to kick these guys because I think they're awesome. They do a great job. They're one of the first in the fitness racing space in the UK. They kind of beat Hyrox in that regard, although they were more trail based before Hyrox got here. But Conquer Fitness want volunteers Saturday the 8th and Sunday the 9th of March. But what they're offering is you get a medal, you get a t-shirt, you get food and refreshments, and you get 50% off a future race. And I'm going to argue both sides here. On one hand, 50% off a future race isn't a great deal, particularly when you're having a 2-day event. So in theory, you could, go back to back.
Yeah.
But the devil's advocate part, it's not a very long day at the moment. I want to say that they do cap their race as well. And if I recall correctly, it's 5 hours work, if that.
Okay. So how much is their event? Because for me, if you're doing 5 hours work, you want a minimum of £60 worth of credit as a minimum. For me, that's minimum wage. I'm looking at £12 an hour. That's what you would want. So depending on how much their race is, if their race is 120 quid, okay, maybe it's about right. If their race is 50 quid and you're only going to get 25 quid off, you're spending that long there. I don't know. It don't feel right, that bit.
It's about 75 for a solo or 125 for a team. So yeah, you are right. You're probably getting close to this isn't even minimum wage stage.
Yeah. It's I don't know. If it's 75 quid, I think they should get a free race. That's just my opinion. And like I say, we're not looking at these people because they put a great event on. It's a sold out race. the way I look at volunteering, Ian, is that could that race be put on without volunteers? No. If that race had to pay wages for a volunteer, they would have to pay minimum wage, which I do believe is just below £12 an hour. So it's going to cost them £60 for a 5 hour shift. But on top of that, yeah, then volunteers have got to take regular breaks. They've also got to be insured as employees, and there's going to be taxes to pay on it from the employer as well. So you're looking at the 75 quid. Is it a bit penny pinching? Might be, might not be. I don't know. It's close to me. I think you should give a free race away.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if there's a right or a wrong answer. I know Deadly doesn't. I'd have to go back and check what they currently do. But as part of their pack, you get a Amazon voucher, which I think is kind of cool because not everyone wants to race. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if you can get a free race with them. You do get a massive pizza. I know that. I guess on the other hand, if you're employing people to do your race, you don't have to feed them. That is something that would come out of their wages. But on the other hand, you're saving yourself a £7 burger, so you're not really saving a lot, are you?
Well, you're not. But if you're like me, I tend not to eat food from places that I don't really know. So I don't remember the last time I went to a burger van. I like restaurants and stuff like that because I know about the health and hygiene certificates, but I wouldn't go from a burger van most times. It's just my opinion. So I'd probably take my own food. But yeah, we're going down a rabbit hole on this one.
I think we are. Let's move on and talk about a links on the loose.
Well, this actually leads to two stories here, Ian, because you put one on the notes, okay, about Ali Turner and Glynis Matheson taking a 3 day long trek up in Scotland. And when you put that on the notes, I actually saw another note which was about a lynx on the loose, and they actually tie in quite well. So, first of all, we're going to talk about yours. We're just going to talk about Ali and Glynis on the 3 day trek to Scotland's, well, not Scotland's, to the Britain's remotest pub, Ian. What's this about?
Well, Britain's remotest pub is a pub in Scotland, and there's two ways to get to it. You can either trek over a mountain, or you can catch a boat across a body of water. I'm not quite sure if it's a lake or if it's an inlet or anything like that. But there are literally no roads heading to this pub. You cannot drive there, Alan, at all. So if you want to get a pint there, you either have to pop on the ferry or you have to do a trek like these people did.
I mean, I love this idea. I mean, this is like a dream. This, let's go for a hike over a mountain, call it a pub, camp over, come back. I mean, 3 days seems a little bit mud, but a little bit long. But maybe it was then. Was it the weather that cost them 3 days to get there?
Either that, or maybe they were just enjoying it a bit too much. Because I don't think it's a 3 day trek, if I'm honest. It's one of them that I reckon experienced people could probably get up and over in a day. Unless what they meant, Alan, is they took a day to trek over, they then got a pint and then a day back.
Okay, I get that. That makes sense. That makes sense. But then it led to the news that I read, which was two lynx are on the loose in Scotland. So these are big cats. These are man-eating cats. And they've actually been spotted in the Highlands in Kingussy. Martin, I've probably butchered that, but apologies for that. They've been released illegally by someone, but I think they've caught two, but they've found two more on the loose. But this is absolutely crazy that in the UK we've actually got. It's now been confirmed there's big cats. We've always had the beast of Bodmin, haven't we? Luckily I've never ran round Bodmin, so I'm not worried about that. But all our Scottish friends, you've got to be careful up there running. There's boar up there now. Now there's wild cats. Gosh, what are we going to get next?
I had a question when I saw this on the notes.
Go on then.
Do you reckon this is the result of, shall we say, a very rich grandma who asked her daughter what to buy her teenage son for Christmas, and the daughter said, so the teenage son's mother said, "Oh, he just he'll just want links for Christmas. Just get him a links. And the well-meaning and very rich elderly grandma bought this kid a lynx, terrifying the family who then released it.
I think that's about right. I think it's about right. You know, someone has released them. I mean, the news and the police and everything there saying someone has released them. Whether they released two and they're bred, or whether they had a family of them of the release, because they've caught two, but since they've caught them, they've found two more, or they've had sightings of two more. It just worries me. I run at night time. And I don't know about you, I run at night time and I run through the woods. You know, I've mentioned stories about running through the woods before. It does worry me sometimes, you know, when I see things like this, that if they're up in Scotland, it's not that far really for an animal. I've seen on what's the program? David Attenborough, David Attenborough films where these wild cats, they roam for thousands of miles. Their territory is 1,000 miles. So if they're up in Scotland, does that mean the territory as well as down here in Barnsley?
No, they won't get past Leeds.
They won't get past Leeds. Someone will get them, won't they? Like, go, oh, come on, pussycat, come and live with us in Leeds.
It'll be on the kebab spike.
Oh, yeah, that's evil. That's nasty. That's evil, Ian.
And
little links.
And then as you're eating it, you're going to say, oh, tastes like Africa.
Poor little links. But, you know, I fancy, if anyone out there, to this pub we're talking about, does anyone out there fancy a trip to this pub? We can do a run over there, carry us backpacks, and then come back. To say it's in the middle of nowhere, it's called the Old Forge. To say it's in the middle of nowhere, it gets packed out.
It does. I believe there is a village around it as well. And it's not completely cut off from civilization, because you do have the ferry crossing, which I understand it's frequent by Scottish standards, shall we say. But even so, it does sound really cool. We do have to sort out a trip there sometime. But speaking of sorting out trips, Alan, have we got any awards news?
We have got a little bit of awards news. As we're recording tonight, Ian, we have signed a deal. Okay. So, in fact, I've got a few things actually can tell. So, first of all, we have got a band playing. Yes, you heard that right. We are not going to have a disco. We are going to have a band that are going to be playing on the night. The band is called The Cover Story. If you go into the UKOCR website, that's ukocr.com, click on where it says awards night, go through there. I've put a video on there. They play 80s, 90s, all the way through. So after the awards, we're going to have them playing for a couple of hours. They're going to do a couple of sessions. And it's going to be amazing. A live band. That's a live band at one yet, have we?
I don't think we do. And they call The Cover Story. So do they play covers or?
Yes, they do. You're quite right. 80s, 90s, and noughties. So, yeah, they're going to play music. I think it's going to be something different. You know, everyone likes to see a live band. And it's dance music. It's your pop music, you know, the ones we all know, the ones we can all sing along to and things like that. So I think it's going to be really, really good. They've agreed to do it at a discounted rate for us. I mean, these guys are doing it for half the price they normally charge. We wouldn't be able to afford them a normal rate. They've had a cancellation. They contacted us, and big thank you to Paula for sorting it all out. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
Here's food for thought, Alan.
Go on.
Classical music in terms of proper symphony orchestra. That's not what the cover band are, but symphony orchestras, yeah?
Yeah.
They're just 1800s cover bands.
That's a great point, actually. Yeah. They're just really a cover band, aren't they?
That's all they are.
Oh, I like that, Ian. I like that. That is really, really good, that. That's one of the best ones. A bit more news from you. So I have been reaching out, Ian, to quite a few businesses involved in running and things like that, and several have come back to me, and we're in a little bit in deep conversations. On the night of the awards, because we're having goodie bags, yeah, and I'm trying to get all these companies to give us things for goodie bags, you know, whatever they can give us, any promotional material. But I've already had kit bricks come back to me, Ian. Guess what Kit Bricks are going to do for us?
Are they going to give us a whole heap of money?
Well, that would have been good, but no. But someone on the night who attends the awards is going to win a unique, one of its kind UK OCR poncho, and someone else is going to win a one of the kind UK OCR tote bag. So they're going to be embroidered with our logo on, and people can win them. How good's that?
Is this their new tote bag that they've recently released? So it's not just a regular tote bag, it's a fancy dancy one.
It's a fancy dancy one, the new tote bag. The one that Libby's got, actually. Libby's actually got one. I've seen Libby who's got one. It's one of those. They are currently in process of making it as. I've seen the mock-ups of them. I'm absolutely amazing. Big thank you to Kit Bricks for getting involved. And I'm hoping to get other stuff as well. I want to give loads of stuff. I want to make the awards bigger and better every year. And we that's the aim. And that's what I'm trying to do. So all this week I've been nothing but sending emails and trying to get people involved. Need to try and get 100 people there. That's our key. So if you are wanting to go, get your name down quickly. We are capping it at 120, but we want to try and get 100 people at least there, because 100 people, it's going to be £55 a head. Live band, 3-course meal. You don't get that for 55 quid anywhere else.
Maybe Barnsley, but you don't want a 3-course meal in Barnsley.
You don't know. You don't. And book your hotel room down in Reigate, or do what some of us. I'm actually taking the caravan down here. Have I told you that? I'm taking the caravan down.
You're not parking it in the car park, are you?
No. Because we're going down to Nuts. We're going to stop. There's a campsite next to Nuts, a caravan site next to Nuts. So we're going to stop in Nuts from Thursday onwards. So we're going to have a few days down there before. We're not coming back till Monday. So we're actually going to have the Sunday free as well, and part day Monday.
So to confirm, we've got 2 amazing prizes from Kit Bricks, and we've got 2 relatively okay presenters. I'm doing the maths, Alan. I can figure, but you're going to tell me we're not eligible, aren't you?
Yeah, we're not eligible.
Oh well.
Yes, I'm sorry, but your name and my name will not be in the raffle prizes. Jen's will be. So will Paula's, and so will anyone else who's down there, anyone who comes and joins us. But yeah, you're quite right, Ian. In the interest of fairness, me and you will not be in there. And P.S., you've got to purchase your ticket as well, because you haven't purchased yours yet. I've purchased mine.
This is worse than James Burton for I bet you he's bought it. He probably bought it straight away. James is always good like that.
He certainly is. I've got a bit more news for you. I don't know if you'll know this. Okay, so this week, Rory Leonard, the under-23 champion, European champion, knocked 6 seconds off the British men's 10K record, which was set by Mo Farah. Now, do you know who Rory Leonard is?
He's a gentleman who knocked 3 seconds off the 10K record, which was previously set by Mo Farah.
Okay, fair enough. I get that. Yeah, that's a good one. He's actually the son of Tony Leonard. Now, Tony Leonard is the person that brought VJ's shoes to the UK, and he's still the stockist of VJ shoes in the UK. So anyone who knows Tony, his son Rory, is an amazing athlete. He ran 27 minutes, 38 seconds at the Valencia 10K.
You know what I'm going to ask?
Go on.
Was he wearing VJs?
Do you know, I don't even know that. That's actually a great question. I'm going to guess that he's going to be a sponsored athlete. So I don't know. That is one question I do not know what shoes he runs in. But saying that, Tony doesn't only do VJ; he does a lot of other equipment and that. But VJs are the shoes that he brings into the country, and that. So yeah, but it's great to have someone that we know, because I didn't even know Rory Leonard until Tony mentioned it to me. And I've been speaking to Tony recently, so it's great that I feel like I know him. Does that make sense?
It does. It always feels nice when it's someone you run in the same circles as who is doing. It's like when we see our friends get on Ninja Warrior UK and they do quite well. It's nice to have someone that you know doing something amazing, because you know how amazing they are, and it's nice that the rest of the world knows how great they are.
Yeah. That's how I felt about it when I saw it. I thought, oh, that's great. I love that.
No, it's a great thing. Well done to young Mr. Leonard, and long may he, well, continue to break records, because at 23, he's probably not yet at his peak in terms of his speed.
No, probably next 4 or 5 years, it'll be up there. It'll be up there, which is absolutely amazing. Talking about that, I felt old this week as well. Talking about young people. Do you know Lewis Hamilton's over 40-year-old?
Yeah, it's worrying. Alan, should I make you feel even older?
Go on.
Do you remember Matt B. Davis's daughter?
Yes.
Yeah, the daughter who did that really cute interview about Muddy Buddy, who saying you know um I got muddy and I was racing with my buddy. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do remember that little clip.
Yeah, Emma Davis is now 17 years old. You're officially old.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Oh, that's crazy, isn't it? Oh, that's I guess when they're that young, they do grow up quick. But I do feel I am feeling old a little bit at the moment, Ian. Yeah.
Me too. I feel like I'm 24 years old.
You nearly are. You're getting close to it.
I am indeed. Alan, is there anything else on the notes before we put a button on this one?
We have, but we've had it on for notes for 4 weeks. I don't think we can carry it on anymore, Ian. We must just let it go now. Let it go.
Right, we'll literally let it go. We seem never to get to it. You know what? We'll take it off the notes next week and I'll bring it up.
And then everyone can have it all.
Exactly. Exactly, Alan. Right. So in that case, I'm going to say it's a goodbye from me.
And listeners, it's a goodbye from me. Thank you to all our Patreons for staying with us. And thank you to all you listeners who are not patrons for staying with us, but join the Patreon train. It's always helpful to us all. In the meantime, you stay safe, you keep on running. We'll speak to you all soon and get the awards booked. Bye.